Hey people, it is Monday, August the 21st. Time is 5:41 in the afternoon. It's currently 25 Celsius. And I'm at the corner of Yonge and Queen, here in the heart of downtown Toronto. And I thought for this walk I would take us through the entirety of the downtown portion of Queen Street East. So we'll be heading east of Yonge, between here and the Don River, which is where downtown ends and the East End begins once you cross over. Queen Street, of course, continues through the East End all the way to the beaches neighborhood, but this downtown portion might be about a 30-ish or so minute walk if I don't walk too quickly. And right off the bat, we begin with construction here of the Ontario line. This part of Queen is closed between Victoria and over to Bay Street west of Yonge. A new major subway station interchange will be located at Yonge and Queen, where Line 1 will intersect with the new Ontario line. So this will be a construction situation probably for the next 5 years or so. I've done some videos walking along portions of the downtown portion of Queen East, but it's been quite a while since I've done a full walk from one end to the other. So I thought it was time I did that again. Just crossing Victoria Street. So obviously the streetcar route here along the downtown portion of Queen is not in service for the next long while. The streetcars are being diverted around the downtown portion of Queen Street, diverted to Dundas Street. But for now, buses are running along the route here, and that route is the famous 501 Queen route. There's Metropolitan United Church. And Bond Street, and this is St. Mike's Hospital. It extends down a couple of blocks. It's quite an enormous hospital. As we continue east, we'll be walking through a part of Queen Street that is known to be on the dodgy side, around Sherbourne. But nothing to worry about in my opinion, especially not in the middle of the day. And the Ontario line is also building a new station there at Moss Park. So the intersection is not quite the same now with all the construction around the area. Has a bit of a different vibe now. Just crossing Church. And there's tons of new development all around this area and proposals. Some very tall towers are rising all around, including across the street. That old yellow building will be part of a new redevelopment of a tall tower. Some awesome old buildings here on this block of Queen East. Pretty substantial too. Much bigger than the usual 2 or 3 story commercial buildings. These ones are more like 5 or 6 floors. Just looking up Mutual Street. And another tower is rising here. And you see they've retained the facades of some of the old buildings as part of that development. So at least the illusion of the old historical storefronts will still be there. And here's Jarvis. So once we cross Jarvis, things start to get a bit dodgy. The Sloppy Chick. Never noticed that there in the corner before. And there's the Moss Park Armory and Moss Park itself just beyond that, and the neighborhood of Moss Park just beyond that. And here's where the new subway station is starting to take shape, although it's a bit early to say take shape. Basically, just digging is happening right now on this corner of Moss Park, where they had to remove a stand of trees here. I think having a subway station here will do a lot for the neighborhood to help improve things. Subway stations tend to attract development, especially right downtown. And 5 years ago, most of those towers you see there did not even exist. A few of them did, but if you go back 10 years, only maybe one of them existed. And with every passing year, more and more keep popping up. Downtown East is starting to go vertical in a big way. Just about at Queen and Sherbourne. Moss Park Discount Store. The sketchy Dollarama, just a bit north up Sherbourne. If you go south on Sherbourne, though, it's not really sketchy at all, in my opinion. It's a pretty typical street on the east side of downtown. It's mainly the stretch between Queen and Dundas, where you'll find the interesting characters tend to congregate. It's pretty quiet here right now. There's usually more people hanging around, but I guess it tends to fluctuate depending on the day, at the time of day, the weather, whatever, many other variables. And a major new development is going here, including a couple of fairly tall residential towers. That will be quite a big change for the mainly low-slung stretch along Queen East here.
I'm single, yeah.
And there's the famous Kim's Convenience from the TV show. It's a real convenience store. Before the show, though, it had a different name with a different sign. And I guess the owner just decided to leave the sign up that they used for the location shots from the show. And I think that was a good call on their part, because it does attract quite a bit of curious onlookers and fans of the show. No doubt it's boosted their business quite a bit. And yeah, digging is well underway here. Quite a pit. Moss Park Apartments across the street. Looks like people are selling some stuff, so like a sidewalk sale type thing going on. And we got an interesting character walking down the middle of Queen Street. So this new development is taking up a huge plot of land here on the corner. Well, he's having the time of his life, as long as he's happy. Just hopefully he doesn't get run over. (1871) Berkeley Church. I don't know if 1871 is the address or if it was the year it was built. Could very well be either. And this is one of my favorite old buildings on this part of Queen East. Yeah, that must have been the year because the addresses along here are only in the 300s, so that's quite the old church we passed by. And then we're going to be crossing over into Corktown, which runs along both Queen and King Street at the very eastern end of downtown.
What do you mean?
Just crossing Parliament. And I believe this Shoppers Drug Mart is slated to be demolished to make way for another new tower here. And here is that development notice. It's like a two-tower development. And I've mentioned it before, but this part of Queen East always seems a bit sleepy. And we are in Corktown now. And this is quite the magnificent Basilica, St. Paul's Basilica Parish. Oh, just in time. I guess it's 6 o'clock. That's quite the ride there. Don't expect to see something like that parked on Queen Street East. Shepherd Ministries across the street. Assisting the homeless community. I think there's a soup kitchen there, so there was a lineup going around the corner. Kind of sad to see. This is a pretty imposing building. And to the north of here is the Regent Park neighborhood. You can see some of the towers.
I was like, I think you're really quiet, or I lost you again.
And I think my favorite street in the area is coming up, my favorite residential street. And I've always been a fan of these old townhomes. One of them burnt down a few years back. And it looks like they've replaced it with a new one that at least fills up that space in a tasteful way and kind of recreates the look of the original building that was lost. Nice to have some thoughtful kind of infill here, you know? They could have like totally bungled this, but I think they did a good job. And here's Bright Street, that street I was referring to, my favorite little residential street. It's just a street of old 19th century row houses. Sort of winds around the bend and goes down to King Street. I have done some walks along Bright Street before, if you're curious to see what it looks like. I think any video I've done dedicated to Corktown, I most likely have walked along Bright Street. Up into Regent Park again. Sumac Street runs right through that neighborhood. A lot of these buildings are as old as they look. Mid-19th century. River Street, so we're about to reach the end of downtown Queen Street East, because just up ahead is a bridge going over the Don River. We'll be leaving downtown and heading into the East End, neighborhoods of Riverside and Leslieville, and beyond that, the beaches. There's the downtown Toronto Humane Society location. So I'll take us up to the bridge. I think it's properly known as the Queen Street Viaduct. That's King Street East. So this is where King Street ends, right here. And Queen Street continues. You can get some cool views of some of the skyline from here. CN Tower, unfortunately, is blocked right now behind that mid-rise building. And there's Bayview Avenue looking down below. And the mighty Don River. And I think we've officially left downtown, so I'm going to start wrapping up the video as we look on where Queen Street heads off into Riverside, Leslieville, and the beaches beyond that. And there's the CN Tower. So I hope you enjoyed the walk along the entirety of the downtown portion of Queen Street East. We began at Yonge and made our way east through a few different neighborhoods, ending here at the Don River and the Don Valley Parkway, which I haven't actually shown yet. So I hope you enjoyed the walk. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you thought of one of Toronto's most famous downtown streets, but the other side, not the popular side along Queen West that most people know about. This is the alternate end of Queen Street. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also make sure you hit that notification bell That way you won't miss any of my videos. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal, as well as via my merch store. And there's also a super thanks button right down below if you'd like to support the channel that way. And you can find me on Instagram also under K Continuum.
One nice thing to wear to do for
So thank you for watching, and be sure to keep checking back, because as always, I will continue.